Once you find your shoulders dropping and your speech gets slow and hazy, you'd better change your way of being before you found your brain got lazy.
Oh, yeah. Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. Right here on Black Liberation Media. In case you didn't know, I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, ready to bring you that boom bap breakfast, but not just me. I'm talking about us. So get on the train, get on the plane, get on the bus, and bring your ass right here down with us. And let me introduce you to our host with the most, straight from the East Coast. Let's talk about Burn It Down, Kip Brad, and Jackie Luba.
Hey,
Ladies.
good morning.
What's up, gang? Good morning.
What's good? Had to start off with some Maya Angelou. Yes.
Say that again. What's her name? What her
Yes,
name again?
beloved. It's Maya Angelou.
Now I want to hear the ear doctor read. I know why the cage bird sings in my Angelou voice. Go ahead, ear doctor.
Bring it up, and I gotta read it. I don't know verbatim. But yes, beloved. Welcome to our Remix Morning Show.
Didn't Maya Angelou used to be a shake dancer, a twerk
Yep.
dancer?
Yes, she did. She did. She turned her life around like Detroit Red.
Turned her life around.
I would have liked to see Maya Angelou drop it. You know?
I agree. I agree.
Because she was prostituting too, wasn't she?
That I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I think I heard something.
We do what we got to do to survive in this system.
Facts. You know the chat room gonna let me know. So, Jackie, what's been going on with you?
Oh my gosh, it's been. Whew. I cannot believe that May is a weird month. Let me say that May is a weird month because May is the month of my mother's birthday. It is Mother's
Happy
Day,
birthday,
the month
Mama.
of Mother's Day. Both my mom and my grandmom and my mother-in-law are all gone. And this year, my mom's birthday and Mother's Day fell on the same day, which happens like every 4 or 5 years. So that was always like a running joke between me and my mom. Was she going to get a birthday present or was she going to get a Mother's Day present?
So you got to save some money.
Yes. Yeah, and I always spent more money, and she'd be like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done all this." Try to take her to a nice restaurant, whatnot. No, I don't want to do that. All this kind of stuff. But May
this ain't a rerun. My bad. I got a rerun at the bottom. Yes, we did a rerun yesterday, y'all. We have technical difficulties.
Yeah, because this computer was just like, not doing it today. But May is also Abdus's birthday, and May has also been the month where all of the my travel that I've always wanted to do seems to have happened. Like we had planned to go to Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Colombia, and all of those things have happened. I haven't been to Nicaragua yet, but in April and May, between late April and May, I went to Cuba, Venezuela, then to Colombia, and here I am once again about to go on another one of those trips that we had planned. I'm going to China.
That's you.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Yep. So I'm all week I've been trying to focus on BAP work, and there's a lot of it. ALD, African Liberation Day, is this weekend in Baltimore, and I'm going to try to get there at least for Friday night because I fly out early Saturday morning, get into Shanghai Sunday evening. Have one day in Shanghai. Then we go to a bunch of different places. We'll be back on June 5th.
Mm.
I may be back on June 5th.
Right.
Jackie said, "I'm trying to get around these tariffs, so let me go to
That's
China."
so I got to find the Shein and Temu factor. I know there's no such
Not
thing.
the Temu
There
factor.
is not. There is no
It
one
gotta be.
Shein or Temu. There are a bunch of but you let me find one of those distribution warehouses.
Man, listen.
They're gonna lose track of me for a minute.
You're gonna be buying shit you don't even need just because.
Yep. Come out that joint in a giant because they have a weird obsession with cute cats. It's a very strange thing they love. So if I show up with a whole bunch of cute cat paraphernalia, that's what happened. I got
That's not a shot at the food. Continue.
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of in between. I don't know. I have this very weird feeling. I'm embarking on another one of those like life-changing trajectory pivoting kind of things. And I think I've been feeling like that for probably most of this year, just like wondering something feels different about this year. And yeah, I think something is changing. I think I am changing. Well, I know I am because I'm consciously making some changes. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's
I'm
beautiful.
verklempt. I'm just like, ooh. Okay.
Well, listen, we gonna keep you in our prayers and all that, Jackie. Make sure y'all send your energy and love towards Jackie way so she stays safe.
No,
and
send
all
me
that.
some money so I can buy some stuff.
Hey,
Right.
that too.
There we go.
That too. Let's get our cash
I'll be
app or
fine. I'll
whatever.
be with a bunch of people. Just send me some money so I can
Bring us back some trinkets or something. Kim Brown, what's going on in your neighborhood? I heard something going down in your neighborhood recently.
What, I had to cuss my neighbors out? What happened in my neighborhood?
Didn't you see one of our
Oh, yes.
hosts yesterday?
Absolutely. Shout out to Kamal K. Franklin. Shout out to Ricky Ryan. I went up to Baltimore yesterday for the book talk about the collection of essays and organizing strategies surrounding the Stop Cop City movement. It was a very dynamic and engaging discussion last night at Red Emma's. I never go outside, so that was fun.
I told y'all. I tried to tell y'all. Y'all said, "Oh, she go outside."
I do go outside sometimes, but in the rain. Listen, that's how much I wanted to see Kamau and Ricky because it was nasty weather around here yesterday. It was very much March, April, not May 20th type weather. So it was a very good turnout. So shout out to everyone that turned up and turned out.
Is Kamau a good speaker in person?
Come on, man. You know Brother Malcolm don't play games. You know Brother Malcolm comes to Brother Malcolm the situation. Yes, Kamau was fantastic. Ricky also very excellent. The other speakers and the moderator as well.
So would you, if you didn't know him, would you buy his book after the?
Hell yes. Okay. Take all my money, Pastor. That's how Kamau goes. Like, let me see what I got in here for this young man. Let me get this young man a couple dollars. You talk good, young man.
You run anybody else in the chat room that was there? Any other BAP people?
BAP was in there, but I'm weird in real life. Like, you know what I'm saying? I came, I saw, I left. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sound like me. I walk in and say hi to everybody and leave without saying bye. But it takes too long. So me and Larry David.
Irish exit or something like that.
Yeah, that's me and Larry David. It takes too long to say goodbye to everybody. We gotta, it's too much.
Just sneak out with a little
grimace on your face. Just
slowly back away.
Look on your phone and walk out. Like, oh shit, I gotta take this call. Oh shit, I'm letting it all out. Anyway, yeah, so that's what's going on. What else? I'll be going to Florida.
What?
Ooh, why?
Well, I gotta go pick up a car for my son.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. Come on here. Young
right now.
8-hour drive. I gotta fly over there Saturday morning and drive right back
Make sure that joint ain't been in a hurricane
I
mind you.
know. I was just calling, be like,
Yeah.
yo, make sure y'all got the tune up, oil change, all that, because that's an
Extra
8 hour
rust on the
drive.
bottom.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the fucked up thing is, yesterday somebody called me to do their wedding, but they never called me back. So right after they ain't called me back, I was like, well, let me go get this car. Then they called me back.
Oh.
So I lost money, but at the same time gaining money because I ain't got to pay for no car for my son. So that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, uncle is
Nice.
giving it up.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
okay.
nice.
So is this your son?
Yeah,
Does he drive currently, or this will be his
yeah, he
first
drives.
driving endeavor? Okay,
Yeah,
wonderful.
he been driving. So now he about to start his culinary school, so he got to get back and forth.
That's exciting.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Excited about
Nice.
it. And
Culinary
then I got
school.
to teach my daughter how to drive this summer.
Ooh,
Good for
So
you. That's right.
blessings.
yeah,
Teach them how to drive.
Blessings.
no, please pray for me. Pray for me, because that girl did.
Protection.
First of all, that girl do not like to hear her dad tell her anything. Like,
Gee, I wonder
just
where she gets that.
ah, yeah, you ain't lying. That's many me for real. Like, why are
Man,
you
I learned
talking?
how to drive on a 5-speed. That's how I learned to drive.
Oh,
I
Ooh,
you
learned how
remember that?
to drive stick
lucky.
first. Yeah,
Man,
buddy.
those are the worst. I couldn't stand those sticks, but you had to learn on the stick too. That was the thing.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, no. I mean, well, the good thing about learning how to drive a manual car, even though they don't make manual cars anymore, is that you could drive any car. You know what I mean? Like any car. You know how
Yeah.
to throw them joints in gear. You can
After
drive
that,
any
it's on and popping. All right. So I was wondering. I don't know. Kamal's on the road. I guess on plane. So I don't know if he didn't check in or text and let
He
us know that he
said
won't
he
be
was
joining
gonna
us.
be in town here until Friday, so I was kind of expecting to see Kamal this morning, but
Mm.
maybe not.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the text, Kamal. If you out there listening, and let us know what was going on. I tell you, no
Oh,
love for the
God.
ear doctor. All right.
Mm.
Let's take our first break. I ain't got it together, so let them know something else while I'm getting it together. Please
Mm.
go get your
Well,
gear.
Jacqueline, you talked about African Liberation Day. Rick, you mentioned that last night. That's this weekend.
That is this weekend. And oh, of course, I don't have the thing pulled up, but it is at Payne Memorial Church in, here you are, open up. Payne Memorial AME Church in Baltimore, Maryland, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. tomorrow, Friday, May 23rd. Hold on, let me show
You big up
you.
Rihanna for rocking the Burkina Bay flag.
Mm, mm.
Word.
I'm like, is that a good thing or is she
Wait a
I
minute.
mean,
hot? Is she bringing too much attention to it?
Kamal said the hotel internet is bad. I was
oh,
trying. Okay.
oh.
Look at
Tell
that.
him to join via just audio. We'll take his
Nah,
very
Yeah,
white
he probably
Barricade.
sitting in there in his underwear anyway. We don't want to see all that.
with a V-neck T-shirt on. That's wrinkled.
You got an iron in the room, Kamal.
Oh,
Just throw it down.
all right, so what's this on the screen? African Liberations
Yep,
Day, DMV
yep.
2025. Supposedly.
Tomorrow, Friday, May 23rd, Payne Memorial AME Church, 1714 Madison Avenue in Baltimore, Maryland, African Liberation Day Symposium. I'm going to try to be there tomorrow night. I couldn't be at Red Emma's last night because I was trying to wrap up some paperwork and some back work and stuff before I get out of Dodge, but I have everything pretty much wrapped up, so I should be at Payne Memorial tomorrow at 6:30 for AME for the AME for African Liberation Day ALD at Payne AME.
And shout
Mm.
out to the AMEs also, yes.
For those who don't know, Jackie, what is a symposium?
Ooh.
A symposium is a group of people having a panel discussion about a particular idea, and folks in the audience can participate through question and answer.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's what it is. We're going to be talking about African Liberation Day, what it means, what it is, why we still observe it, and why we need African liberation.
Okay. All right, you go ahead and take that down. We can see the entire screen.
I did. Oh, I'm sorry.
No
Oops.
problem. Listen, we all work together. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Kim, I'm digging that. I'm digging the haircut, man. That's dope.
Thanks.
No problem.
Mama said the rerun you played yesterday. She's like, you should have seen how long your hair
I
was.
know. Your mom like miss your long hair.
And that's a young woman's game, long hair. You know what I'm saying?
Well, look at Jackie. She's a teenager over there.
Jackie, yeah, exactly. Jackie aging in reverse over there. She got the locks locking. You know what I'm saying?
Words, they pop locking. All right. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and take. I got a song for you, Jackie, for that. So we gonna go ahead and let Jackie pop lock into the break right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go.
Go. Remix.
Let's start it off with a remix on the remix, y'all. You know how we do. Let's get it. Remix One Show.
That's what I get for being in the neighborhood. Where's my jewelry? Can you do?
I don't know, but I think you better watch your man.
You better
Watch your man.
This girl he's doing, nobody else
All
can.
the girls are watching him.
If you wanna be sure, you best go powder your nose. Cause you wanna look good when you step on the floor. That's why gotta meet in the ladies' room. I'll be back real soon. Gotta meet in the ladies' room. I'll be back real soon.
All right, let me take you to a time and place. Let me take you back to 1983 with no other than Planet Patrol. Name of that song is Play at Your Own Risk. Yeah. Mixed with a little bit of 1984. We talking about the group Climax. And the name of that song is Meeting in the Ladies' Room off that album Meeting in the Ladies' Room. Listen, make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com, become a member over there, get footage that's rare. And also you can donate where? At blkliberationmedia.org. Let me put that at the bottom of the screen for you. blkliberationmedia.org. And also go ahead and get you some gear over there. We got some dope shirts, hats, and all that stuff for all the different shows. So check that out over there also. All right, with that said, let's get back to it right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go.
I thought I had a woman close to fine, but now I gotta watch you all the time.
You gotta watch us every time and all the time right here on the Remix Morning Show.
That was dope. I like that. That was a good one.
Yo,
Meeting in the ladies' room. What was we meeting about? I was interpreted they went into the ladies' room to go get sniffy.
Yeah, to sniff. And also, women always go to the bathroom in groups. I mean, don't they? They're like, come on, girl, let's go to the bathroom.
But a meeting denotes something. There's a topic, right? It's like we'll meet about something.
Well, wasn't part of the song that the friend's man was at the club and he was pushing up on some other chick, so they had to go to the ladies' room to make sure she had her stuff straight. So when she stepped on the dance floor, that nigga could see her and be like, "Oh shit!
See?
Oh, why am I messing with this little scrub? There my baby go."
There we go. There's the political breakdown by Jackie Lukeman. Lukeman. So yes, and they was gonna beat that ass. And shit. It was like, oh yeah, let's get our Vaseline and everything.
The track under the Planet
Play at Your Own Risk.
Yeah, Play at Your Own Risk. Isn't that also the track that's used? Is that where the sample comes from for Planet Rock?
Nah, it's not the same. It
Really?
sound like the same though. It's like probably the same producers heard that track. It was like, let's make something just like that.
Oh.
But I'll during the break, I'll go ahead and make sure I find out that information and see which one came out first. And,
Interesting.
It definitely sounds it. All right, let me get up out of here. Let y'all get to it. Peace.
Peace. Jacqueline,
Yeah.
there's no lack of news. There's no lack of news. So let's make the ear doctor happy and go ahead and slap that map.
Yep. Let's go ahead and do it.
Hey,
Mhm.
top of the morning to you, black folks and non-black folks joining us. It's the Remix Morning Show, Black Liberation Media, on this Thursday, the 22nd of May, 2025. It's not Women's Wednesdays, but you get the women's on this Thursday. You got
Mhm.
Jacqueline Luqman, Kim Brown, well, ear doctor,
Yeah, you know, he's honorary everything
bringing the
every day.
masculine energy, that the balance, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but we appreciate it. Thank you so much to everyone checking in the chat. We need y'all to push some buttons, y'all. Do some engagement. Even though the platform and the channel is demonetized, we can still show YouTube that, people like us out here. So do what you can. Subscribe to the channel, share the show. Shout out to our brother Kamal Franklin in the chat, I guess. Kamal, good morning.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to see you. You can bring your audio up here if you wanted to, Kamal.
I
But
mean,
Renee Johnston and go with the black screen and just talk to us, which is fine. So anyway,
mm-hmm.
where do you
Yes.
start news wise, Jackie? Did you happen to catch Cyril Ramaphosa in the Oval Office yesterday?
I saw the news about it, and let me see if I can pull up.
Was, how do I say, a shit show. It was a shit
Yes.
show. My guy was coming through trying to be the reasonable, rational, diplomatic African, but then he brought his white man in to reassure Trump that they were keeping all the rabble out of the halls of power in South Africa. The people who really actually want to expropriate the land. Oh, don't worry, Mr. President, we're keeping those people out of government. Oh, Jesus. I was like,
yeah, so this is from ABC News, and I didn't watch the interview because look, I'm trying to get the hell out of here. I can't.
I was going to ask you, are you going to ask the Chinese to please keep you? Can we please? They got locticians in China, Jackie. You could get somebody to lock your hair.
Listen, I do my own hair. That's not even ever a consideration. Ain't nobody. That's the least of. but yeah. So, President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa went to the White House, and let's see if we can.
Especially since they've seen this.
Oh, please stop.
Generally, they're white farmers, and they're fleeing South Africa, and it's a very sad thing to see. But I hope we can have an explanation of that, because I know you don't want that.
South African officials, including Ramaphosa, have vehemently pushed back against these claims. South African native and one of Trump's top advisors, Elon Musk, has been amplifying the, quote, white genocide claims. That's what it's called. This is a contested issue in South Africa. White genocide is what it's called. And he was present. You can see him there. Elon Musk, for Ramaphosa's visit today. So joining me now, senior White House correspondent Selena Wang and our South African producer, Liesl Tom.
Yeah, we don't care about what these people say.
Not at all.
We do not care. Not at all. I just wanted to play the audio.
There's so much audio, to be honest. Like it was disgraceful. It really kind of disgraceful all around in different ways. Of course, Trump's in there pushing this falsehood of white genocide and the white farmers are being killed and this, that, and the third. And he was insistent in spite of South African president's pushback. And again, the South African president brought his white man because I guess he figured the only person Trump was going to believe maybe would be his white minister of agriculture to reassure him that, in fact, whites are not being slaughtered and having their lands stolen back, I guess. Not stolen from them, stolen back from them.
Right. Returned.
Right. But Trump is
Stupid.
Wow,
Hello.
now. Hey,
Yes.
look at that. Look at who got some clothes on and hopped on the screen. Look at
I
that.
did. I put pants on and everything. Look.
He kept the V-neck on.
No, yeah, no.
I
I put on
see
my
it.
CMB shirt. It's been rough trying to get on the air, but when I heard, I was like, I got to try again. I got to try again. Whenever you're going to talk about the Trump one, I was like, I got to try again because I
Yeah.
did watch it. I did.
Oh,
watch it.
did you? Well, okay, come on, tell us, because this whole thing, as horrible as Trump is, can we please talk about Cyril Ramaphosa being a punk?
Diplomatic coonery is what I describe it as. Diplomatic
come on.
coonery. But I mean, he sat there as this dude put up a fake video of what he said was massive grave sites, where basically, as the media later report, and why doesn't he have people on staff who would check it right away? So basically, Trump interrupted the meeting to put up this fake video saying that they were showing mass graves of white farmers in South Africa. And part of it was the video that showed, like, the crosses lined up, hundreds of crosses lined up, which Trump said was grave sites in South Africa. So instead of disputing, he just kept, oh, we're going to investigate and look into that. Well, they weren't grave sites. Basically, a farmer, I guess, was killed, and then the family put up 1,000 crosses to represent the idea that there was a genocide, and that the president of the United States, with all his security and intelligence department is bigger than South Africa's whole government. No one said to the president, "Sir, this is not a mass gravesite. This is not a representation genocide." Instead, they go like, they'll never know, or let's just do it. Obviously, this was plotted and planned as an ambush. But my man, the coonery of like sitting there talking about, oh, we just want to do trade, Mr. President. That's what we want, this trade. We're here to talk about trade. Other things too. No pushback. No, like, this is crazy. No, that you're out of your mind. No, that you actually supported apartheid. Your government supported apartheid. You're currently supporting an ongoing genocide. That is the only genocide, the genocide that we should be talking about is the genocide that you are actively supporting that is taking place before our very eyes. Isn't that what we should be having some private meetings about, Mr. President? To get your country to stop the genocide on Palestinians and taking of their land and the over 100,000 people who've been murdered in less than a year and a half? Shouldn't that be the topic of this? Nothing. I thought it was really, and he did exactly what you said, Kim. He brought his non-Black government officials for the country of South Africa in the opposition party to wax poetically about how they were all working together despite the issues. And then they blamed everything on crime and said that what they needed from the United States was technology to help defeat the crime.
Starlink. I saw them. I'm like, are we openly begging for Starlink? South Africa?
Yep.
Yes. In fact, he said beforehand that he wanted to find avenues for Musk to invest in South Africa. Musk, who every day is calling his country basically a genocidal country where whites are treated unfairly. No pushback whatsoever. No real pushback. This kind of like, diplomatic. Again, as this white boy is he's got his administrative people asking questions or interrogating him. I was like, this is crazy. I was like, this is freaking crazy. So I was like, this is, the height of diplomatic coonery. I just understand it. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched a couple of the clips with Ramaphosa being very polite. No, Mr. President, no, that is not a part of government policy. No, I no, that is not, we do not have those kind of people in our government. These people who would say such a thing are extremists. None of what he said was, Mr. President, this is bullshit. Mr. President, this is fake. This is fake news.
I guess
All
he
these
figured he didn't
these
want to get
crosses.
screamed on. He didn't want to get Zelensky'd right there in the Oval Office, which if Trump would scream at a white man, you imagine how he would talk to Cyril Ramaphosa if he
and
challenged him.
And I want to share this picture really quickly just to show you that Ramaphosa was not in that room by himself. This is Ramaphosa right here, and these are four other. I think this is a South African
And there's a white
diplomat
man or
also,
Indian man to the
and
side.
yeah,
who's also-
these are the white folks from the opposition party in South Africa.
No.
No,
Those three white men are golfers.
Ernie Els. That's what I was wondering. I'm like, who
Oh,
Ernie
that's
Els? What he do?
Trump
I can't
asked him
see.
to bring the golfers or invited the South African
Yes.
golfers so that they could testify about the genocide in South Africa because some of their family members own farmland in South Africa, which they never talked about how they got the farmland in South Africa.
Of course not.
But they only talked about how they're trying to eke out a living in dangerous circumstances and situations, that their family loves South Africa, that one of them whipped out this passport. I still have my South African passport or whatever. It's like
from the apartheid era.
God.
Nigga.
It's like you're watching some, like, is this a weirdo world or
Yes.
whatever? No one is saying the obvious things. It's like, you're not South African. You're a European colonist.
You're Dutch.
You don't have any land in South Africa. You never did. In fact, I should take it all. That should have. I would just start like, I'm getting out of this. Fuck this bullshit. I would just like, tie off, take off the suit. I would have my, my dashiki. I'm like, fuck this bullshit. China's going to be our chief trading partner. We're going to buy weapons from China. We're going to buy weapons from Russia. We're breaking off complete diplomatic relationships with the United States, whatever. We're joining the Sahel group to create a larger, you know what I mean? Like how much does it take? And I think part of it is because these folks are brought off anyway, because I think the South African president is one of the richest people in the country in South Africa.
Mm.
So he is also protecting his own self-interest in terms of whatever trade deals he generates through his businesses with the United States, other corporations or governments and so forth. In fact, it was like, one of the things that he got in trouble for, I guess a few years ago, was that they found a boatload of money in his couch that he claimed was, from gaming proceeds that he forgot to take to the bank, and it just happened to be stuffed in his couch. So yeah, it's just crazy.
I love the fact, even though it was taken as a joke and said kind of tongue in cheek, when he said, "Mr. President, I wish I had a plane to give you." I said, "I bet you do, because you wouldn't be getting grilled like this."
Yep.
If you came with a plane.
Mm-hmm. And it just, so, when we talk about why people don't respond to, gross injustice, mass human rights violations, genocide, the behavior of the South African president is an example for why that happened, because you've got Black folks in power who will participate in and excuse human rights violations being committed against another group of people to protect their situation. I mean, the reason people do not understand the just absolutely messed up politics of a white South African who is not an elected government official in this country, talking about there's a white genocide in the country that he came from. And the only reason he came from that country is because his grandparents, I guess, were the Dutch settlers who went to that country, stole people's land, genocided people in order to steal the land, and stole an emerald mine. And now he is involved in the U.S. government, in the settler colonial country in the United States, saying, oh, well, they're genociding the whites in South Africa. And you've got the Black South African president coming to the White House and not telling the truth. Not just slamming Trump and Musk in the face with, first of all, these so-called South Afrikaners that you are listening to, they're Dutch. They're not South African. Exactly like Kim said. That's what Ramaphosa should have said. No, Musk is and his family are Dutch. They are colonizers. That is how they came to Azania. That's how they came to South Africa. And they stole our land. And the legislation that is at the center of these conspiracy theories is a redistribution of land. That, yes, there is a clause in the legislation that says land can be expropriated without compensation if there is a if these people we're taking the land from have committed crimes against, black people, all this kind of thing. But that none of that has actually happened. No white people's land has actually been taken in South Africa without any kind of compensation. When the government has expropriated land, they haven't taken all of it, and they've paid these mugs for that land.
And the
So,
land that they've taken has been considered excess land, not
right.
land that they are even using, like even the land that they're bargaining for, talking about redistribution.
So Ramaphosa sitting in the White House is not talking about any of this. He's not talking about how it was the white Dutch settlers who took all the money, who literally took all the money from the South African government to make sure that Nelson Mandela couldn't govern, couldn't control the resources. This is why that 7% of those white Dutch settlers own 75% of the land in South Africa to this day. None of that was said by Ramaphosa, by any of these black South African officials. And these white people, one of those folks, and I didn't realize that guy is a golfer, but I think he is in a part of the South African opposition party. But then to have the black South African president bring the white Boers to the White House, like the remnants of the apartheid South African Boers, brought them to the White House to convince the white American president that the blacks are not killing the whites en masse. And oh Jesus, do you see why African liberation is so necessary? Do you
And then
see?
his other sort of twist of phase is, I guess they use Mandela the way the liberals, black liberals, white, everybody uses Dr. King here, because he kept invoking, as Mandela taught us, to justify or to suggest, of course, that their goal is racial harmony in South Africa, as Mandela taught us, was like those overarching phrase anytime he wanted to suggest to Trump or suggest to the larger world in terms of his diplomatic conversation that, we are a peaceful country, a transition country. We are attempting to bring everybody in terms of apartheid. Apartheid has been over now for what, 30, 40 years in South Africa. And a historic wrong that was done by the ANC in terms of the deal that was made to bring the ANC to political power was exactly what Jackie alluded to, was that the whites continued to maintain complete control of the economic sphere of South Africa. Land, minerals, financial wealth, all of that stayed within the white hands. None of that was broken up. None of that was redistributed. None of that was any reparations. No land redistribution again. So they maintained complete control of the economy. The other thing is that South Africa had to dismantle its nuclear program, in which it had nuclear weapons. So the apartheid white racist regime, when it was an ally of the United States, was allowed to get the nuclear weapons, similar to Israel, right? But the moment the deal was cut, the only way the United States would allow the deal to go through, right, or to support the deal, was to make sure that the nuclear technology was dismantled and taken out of the hands of the South African government when it would be turned over to the ANC. So the ANC has, for decades now, refused to do any huge land reform which would benefit the people. the top layers of the ANC have all become, or mostly, if not all, become extremely rich people, mostly extremely rich men, that have now brought into this capitalist system, and the spoils of the end of apartheid are going into their individual pockets, but not the masses of South Africa. And so, and that is another reason why the ANC is continually losing support. And when they lost the majority of support, as they stated themselves, as opposed to choosing a Black South African party, and there were several to choose from who were to their left, they decided to choose a more right-wing South African party that represents the majority or a good portion of white folks and others, who basically have spent their decades calling the ANC racist, murderers, genociders, using similar language that Trump has used. That is the people they decided to partner with. And so you could see the whole collusion taking place. And again, the president of South Africa is not interested in breaking any of that up. He wants more deals. He won't even stand up for his people, stand up for his country, stand up against a white supremacist accusing him of genocide in the face of him basically supporting and enacting a genocide. It's just totally ridiculous.
I mean, what do all of us do with the fact that Trump, and this is not new, this is just the latest iteration of it, but he operates on a separate plane of reality, right? And when I watch him hold up these newspapers and run the documentary, let's turn down the lights, everybody. Let me show y'all a clip. I was like, this nigga's crazy. But like I actually think he believes the stuff, to be honest. I think what makes Trump such an effective propagandist is like, he doesn't need convincing. He doesn't need verification. He doesn't ask for sources. Whatever he's told, he's going to run with. And that's very scary. You know what I mean? Like, he is definitely using his policies and his power to dictate things from a separate reality. And it's like, how does literally everyone else in the world function when the US president, one of the most powerful people in the world, who is disrupting literally millions of people's lives, is propagating blatant falsehoods that are easily debunked, continuously debunked, and yet he still presses on with these false claims.
Well, I mean, I think we've lived with that reality in this country since we've been here, because that's them. that's basically why the United States doesn't know its own history and believes ridiculous things about its history. I think Trump is like the extreme example of how of white domination ideology and how it works. It's like these people are not supreme over anybody else. They're just really creative liars, and they make up their own lies and they believe it. And they stick to it, and they know it's not true, but that is their ideology, and they are willing to kill people in order to defend that ideology. And this is what we're seeing. But this has always been the truth, because nothing European settlers have done in this country was ever based on any verifiable anything. That indigenous people were not savages. The indigenous people didn't do anything to them. Africans were not savages and children. The Bible does not condone or promote, and God does not justify slavery. But these are all lies. That the Black people are not lazy. We all don't want, all our men don't aspire to just having, some good liquor, some fried chicken, and a warm bed at night. These are all lies that these people told to justify the horrific things they have done to our people. The Bible actually documents ancient cultures and their practices and applies a spiritual lens to things that were happening in ancient society. If I write you a letter and say, hey, I observed that some neighbors in this society have chickens, 200 years later, if people decide that they find that letter and they decide that I'm a prophet, are you going to tell people that I condoned having chickens? No, I just documented that people in this society have chickens, and gee, they treat their chickens pretty good. That's the context of slavery in the Bible. It's not a justification. It is literally an observation of ancient society and how this particular spiritual ideology should be adopted in every aspect of that ancient society. But for white folks who are the beneficiaries and the supporters of Trump and his policies, it's easy for them to accept everything he says because this is what they've been operating off of ever since they've been here. I mean, the whole lost cause ideology around the Civil War and slavery is the biggest lie that these people have created, and they still believe it. This is why they were mourning a plantation house burning down. This is how they were able to justify having weddings and birthday parties and anniversaries and graduation parties at a plantation. This is how.
It's so beautiful though, Jackie. The grounds are just so immaculately maintained and manicured.
I am sure the trees that our people were lynched from were beautiful too. It doesn't mean that our people did not hang from them damn trees, and those people did not pick our people's body parts off of those charred and dead corpses. Trump is I recognize that he poses more danger to people because of the position he is in. But make no mistake, this is exactly how Trump thinks is exactly how these folks have always thought. Trump is the manifestation of white supremacist, white domination ideology in power. These people. I think he is the example we need to see to understand why we need to stop trying to appeal to these people's morality, because they don't have any.
100%.
Which is why these leaders need to stand up against, like, they come here. I mean, obviously he knew that some of this stuff was going to happen, and he chose, I guess, this tactic to not upset Trump or whatever. But unless there's some kind of larger coalition of these states who recognize, or who are not just going to be on the dole, this is just going to continue, because they still want to get that U.S. resource and money, that international capitalism. As Malcolm used to say, that dollarism. When they throw that dollarism on you, everything, all your so-called principles, everything else goes out the window. And too many leaders, not just African leaders, but too many so-called leaders, too many so-called governments, it's all about the deal making for them. It's not principled. It's not ideological. It's all about, the only ideology they have is around receiving resources for themselves and their inner circles or their families, or what kind of money benefit can they get. I mean, there's going to have to be some change in terms of a stronger, more united left political movement in the world, I think, because otherwise these folks will continue to do this bargaining, this, like, half-handed, we'll say some things, but we won't say others. But when the U.S. throws those dollars on them, for the most part, most of these leaders either capitulate, or it's not even capitulation, it's what they want anyway, right? So the fact that in South Africa, again, that the masses of people, it's incredible that even after all this time, that the masses of people have not risen up and taken all that land back. And then some have, right? And there is some real violence against the white farmers, but it's justified violence, because these are the people who stole the land from their families or their ancestors or their people and pushed them onto different plots of land than they originally had. Imagine people not fighting back as the government does nothing to support them, and asks the U.S. government for basically spy planes and drones and technology in order to stop them, but allows them to live in poverty, and suggest again that old lie that more capitalism will bring more resources for people. That's not what they're trying to do. So, yeah, I mean, people are locked in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, where the only thing that they have to do is to fight back. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to fight back As they fight back, it gets reported for propaganda values as some sort of mass attack on white farmers because they're white. It's an attack on white farmers because they are the ones who took the land from the original inhabitants.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't need to be compensated for taking the land back. Why would they be compensated? They've lived a rich life for 80, 100, 200 years. They good. There's no compensation needed for them. That land is not theirs. That is South African land to be redistributed to the people so that people can have good lives and the economy can thrive through a new system of how resources and produce should be redistributed.
Mm-hmm. You know, so it's ooh, man, we got work to do. But you know what? I'm glad that we got to mention a little bit the burning down of Nottoway, the big house at Nottoway, because apparently Mama Nature is just pissed off at what we have not been able to do, or what we have decided we weren't going to do, which was to get rid of these symbols of the oppression of humanity, genocide and slavery, chattel slavery in this country, and all this kind of stuff. Because guess what, y'all? Another one of those little monuments to white supremacy, white domination ideology gone under mysterious natural circumstances. This is from Twitter. And shout out to Erica for the run sheet. This was on the run sheet. This is a Twitter account called Dixie Forever. Now, listen, if you don't understand what Dixie means in regard to the history of this country that we just talked about, American apartheid, American slavery, that Dixie is the nickname for the Old South. All right. So anybody, any sports team, any organization, any anthem that has the words Dixie or rebel in it, because rebels are the Confederates. They were rebellious. They were the rebellious states from the quote unquote United States. That's why those words and symbols are problematic, because they literally represent the Confederacy, right? So this organization, Dixie Forever, posted on Twitter, breaking sad news for them. It's joyous for us. The museum building at the Fort Branch, North Carolina Confederate Earthworks was just destroyed by a falling tree. They post pictures. Here's before on 11/24, November 2024, and after May 2025. Photos and information. Please see the following. Yeah, please give us some money. They said last month we were surprised to get a call informing us that a large tree had fallen on the museum. Unfortunately, it is a total loss.
Last month?
Very weird. I don't know. But anyway, we intentionally delayed letting everyone know so that the artifacts could be moved and secured at a new location to avoid any theft. Don't nobody want to steal that stuff.
I do. We could steal it and burn it.
That's what I'm saying. We don't need to steal it. We don't need to take it nowhere to do that.
I like to wipe my butt with some of the Confederate flags.
We ain't stealing it. That's not what we fit. Anyway, we have since learned that the insurance on the building is not enough to replace it with today's cost. Aw, we are devastated. We are looking at other possibilities of funding, including, GoFundMe, which is probably not going to let them do it because of their political things. But who knows? Because white people, right? But anyway, this is the museum. These are the artifacts.
Whoa. Whoa.
Okay. This is the building that the tree mysteriously fell off.
Whoa.
And the spirit of Maya Angelou and Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth knocked that tree down and like, you know what? I'm done. We're done with this.
Yeah, my only disappointment is that it was done by Mother Nature and not Black folks or whatever.
Yeah.
And I felt like, although I wasn't like a huge fan of the huge spotlight that the fight around removing the Confederate statues had, I did like the fact that people were like, we don't want these things in public squares. Mm-hmm. But I do, I mean, just as a symbolic fight, I don't mind that fight at all. So folks, folks get any ideas, we can't mention any of those ideas on air. But if folks get any ideas, based on what Mother Nature maybe, doing its job, and then maybe we got to do some of our job. So, because Mother Nature won't always be there to help. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, Mother Nature helps those that help themselves. Put it like that. One of those things. Let's say it like that.
Mother Nature on the rebound. Mother
so
Nature on the boards.
So people get inspired,
So we
get
throw a layup and Mother Nature make sure.
Exactly.
We need Mother Nature to keep up this momentum because Mother Nature is 2 for 2. So don't stop now, Mother Nature. While you at it, just keep rolling.
Well, Mother Nature is now 3 for 3 because she brought us back the Air Doctor.
Hey,
Air Doctor. You like that? You like that?
That was pretty good. That's pretty good. I was trying to come in on time. Yeah, and I was just thinking when y'all was talking about this Africa thing. A friend of mine sent me something else that's going on in Africa. Talking about Mali, saying Mali rejects 438 million from gold mining giants. So Africa is like, yo, get out of here. Y'all trying to take all our gold and everything like that. And this brother right here was like, nah, we good. So everybody's got their hands on Africa, like Walter Rodney would say.
There's a movement. It's just about whether or not that movement will be able to grow and survive as the West now begins to target. Like, we probably talked about this earlier where, what was the black general tried to call out some of the states that are now liberating themselves from sort of French colonial interest and European colonial interest. So they are now being targeted. They have been for a while, but now it's open targeting. So folks do have to stand up and support. I know there were some marches and demonstrations a week ago to support some of these countries. So yeah, people have to stand up and support.
All right. Hey, come out. How's it up there? How's the whole
in Baltimore?
Greek? Yeah, how's it going up there?
Weather was terrible, B. I'm not sure what's happening here. So I came up with no jacket, no coat, no sweater. I left Atlanta. It was like 85 degrees. I thought when I got here it was going to be 85 degrees. It's raining.
Didn't pack your bag?
No, I packed my own bag.
That's the problem.
That's part of the problem. So I was like, yo, it is freezing up here. But again, like it was great to see Kim. I'm here and I'm still trying to see if we can have dinner. We were supposed to have dinner yesterday, and then they snuck off. She snuck off someplace in the car, and I got a text. And then I was like, where y'all at? And by that point, I was like, I'm going back to my.
Kim was like, I needed to smoke.
She did exactly what you said. Like probably looked down at the phone and inched her way out to like backed out.
That's it.
I was talking to people, about organizing, and then when I looked up, I was like, "Ain't nobody."
That's why I texted you and said, "We outside in the car."
Yeah, I didn't see the text until later, like much later.
But then I even told you to take your time. I was like, "Take your time." You know what I'm saying? I know, we got to press the flesh. Everybody want to, the daps and hugs would come out. Take your time. But no, I would love for us to have a chance to have a meal.
Okay, I'm gonna hit you up after the show.
Okay.
Look at that.
Well, yeah, and Ear Doctor dumped me for the classical breakdown today, so I actually have some time.
Yeah, sure did. I got a mechanic coming to work on my truck, so he's coming at that time. The only time I could get it. So it is what it is. We'll come back, but we'll postpone our Lovers Rock for next week, and we'll come back.
Is that what this week was going to be? Lovers Rock?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sade or something else?
No, it's reggae. Reggae music.
My bad. I thought it was gonna be Sadie. Okay.
No.
Like Bob Marley, Wade in Vain.
Can she be deported from Africa? Is she deportable?
What? Why
I was just asking questions.
Sade is unacceptable.
I can't with this heathen. This heathenistic talk. Rhetoric. Is that how you say it? Rhetoric? Whatever. Anyway. Big out to everybody tuning in. This is the Ear Doctor. Thank y'all. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com. Become a member over there. Get footage that's rare. And donate. We're at blkliberationmedia.org. Yes, you can donate. We are demonetized, so that support would definitely help us to continue doing what we're doing. Also, go check out some dope merch over there. We got some dope merch. Speaking of dope merch, big up to Respect Due. They blessed me with this Poor Righteous Teacher shirt right here. Look at that. Big up to Poor Righteous Teachers. All right, let's talk about some other things. You hear in the background, you hear about the man. You see the thumbnail. We're talking about a real bad man. Go by the name of Vibes Cartel. Yes, he looked like this at one point. Now he looks like this. Yes, wow. Let me tell you a little bit about him. Got a lot going on here. Also known as Adija Azim Palmer. Also known as the world boss, teacher, and king of the dance hall. Yeah, the thing is with him, he put out a lot of music, especially while he was incarcerated. But he got some big singles, did some big songs he did with like Rihanna, Missy Elliott, and Major Lazer. But he was in prison in 2014 for killing one of his peoples. So he was in jail for a minute, but that wasn't even one time. It was 2 times he went to jail for killing somebody, and also some weed charges and guns. I mean, whole lot going on with this brother. And then also a whole lot of things talking about him when he did his bleaching of the skin. Me no bleach on the skin, him no like no browning. But him said that it wasn't because of racism or self-hate. I don't know what it was for. But he came up loving Buju Banton, so he did that for a minute. He got with a crew called Vibes Cartel. Crew broke up, and then he just kept the name. But he was a prodigy of Bounty Killer. He had beef with a bunch of different reggae artists. We talk about Ninja Man, Movado. So he had some problems with some people, and he had to get a sit down to talk with them because there was a lot of violence. Like he's one of the biggest reggae stars over there in Kingston, Jamaica, where he's from. So he had to do a bunch of sit downs because you have some war infractions going on just because of that. He also had problems in getting banned off radios because of sexual content and homophobia. You know, that's a big thing in that culture when they talk about that. So a lot going on with this brother. And like I said, he's out now from prison, and everybody's like, hey, he's back. The world boss is back. So go check out some of his music and see why is it that we constantly are uplifting people that talk down on the black community with violence, with gun talk, with drugs, with dyeing your skin, bleach, all that stuff. Why is it we always uplifting these brothers? I don't know. But that's the world boss. Let's talk about it right here on the Remix Morning Show.
With another girl, the fuck the baby man is a thing say, but the business physics.
Someone in the chat said it was like drunk history and like all the crazy shit he's did. I was like, God damn. He said he's killed 2 people.
Damn. I mean,
were there under circumstances in which he was doing? Was it self-defense or? I mean, we don't know. He just like
Yeah,
like
they ain't get into all that, but it's a lot going on with that brother. But I was just thinking, like, music is about that bad boy mentality, from Biggie Smalls to Vibes Cartel to even in the movies, Scarface. It's like we love these bad guys that kill the communities with drugs and violence and.
But isn't it is it life imitating art or art imitating life? Right? Like. Was Biggie out here shooting people? No, I don't think so. But
he was out here selling drugs to the community, to pregnant women.
Wow, to pregnant women.
You don't remember? Yeah, you don't remember even in the movie. He was like, he was selling drugs to women that was pregnant. He didn't care. He had to get money.
I mean, but that's not just. Now you make my head hurt.
I'm just gonna drink my coffee. I'm not gonna. But nope.
Let me circle back to Vibes Cartel and bleaching, because that's what I best know him for, is bleaching his skin. And he says he was not bleaching because of self-hate. Then what was the reason?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, that was crazy.
I'd be curious what his explanation. Like, No, I don't hate myself. I just wanted to erase my melanin. What?
I
Who
just want
does
to be
that?
lighter than I am.
That was
It's
a
a
big
side
thing in
part.
Africa with that ambi cream. Like a lot of people
Oh
was
yeah, I
bleaching
remember
their
people.
skin. It was
Very
age.
sad.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
very
All
sad.
negative things from U.S. culture we bring over to other places or whatever. So,
European culture that,
European,
you
yeah.
know, the European beauty standards, you know, when you're colonized for centuries and the Europeans take over your whole country and your whole society and your whole culture, all of their bullshit, that's when even when the colonizers leave, you are
Mhm.
still left with all of their ideological bullshit. That's where the homophobia and the skin bleaching and the all kinds of wacky religious garbage, that's where all that crap comes from. It's not, you know, a particular culture. That's why I was like, nope, I ain't gonna say nothing, I ain't gonna say it. Like the homophobia is not big in that particular culture. Homophobia is a European import, as well as
Mm.
patriarchy.
I don't know
um
because do we talk about dance hall and Beanie, all these different artists? It's very big in that culture.
and where what the countries they are from are all countries that were what?
Colonies.
Thank you.
Hmm. Yeah, no doubt. I'm just
Colonized
saying
by
as
I think it's
Europeans.
a mixed
Yes.
record of and again, I'm not saying that Europeans obviously may not have added to it, but I think there's just like patriarchy. I think even within African cultures, pre-European invasion, there are African practices that, on their own, I think stand out as both patriarchal and homophobic.
But then there
So
were African cultures who were not.
yeah,
yes,
we're
yes,
not
So,
of
saying it
course.
wasn't. We
Yeah,
just saying
so
that it
I agree
was
with that.
big in that culture, in that music, in that dance hall, them being a homophobic. But another thing what Ricky just pointed out, he's made a lot of music from jail. The fact that he puts out this gun music and the people in jail, like he put out over 50 songs while in jail in 1 year.
Like
Was he
Lucius
in jail
Lyon.
in Jamaica or in the United
Yeah.
States?
In,
In
in
Jamaica.
Jamaica, like the fact that they were like, yeah, you can record and put out some more music. Just keep talking that gun talk, and we'll let you go ahead and get away with it. It's wild.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute, my man killed
All
two
right.
people. He still was able to put out like 50 albums.
In jail, like 50 songs in 1 year. Wow, crazy
I'm not
work.
mad at that.
All
Okay,
right, well, let me get out of here.
mhm.
okay.
The irony of black people bleaching their skin while whites run to the tanning salon. Like,
Uh-huh. And the cosmetic surgeon for the BBLs
eh, and
and
the
the lip
lips.
plumping lipstick and
Yeah,
stuff.
the lips thing looks crazy. It's like, what's going on with the duck thing? Yeah, yeah.
Who
You,
is
you,
who,
yeah.
who is really ugly? You know what I'm saying? If we ugly, but y'all trying to look like us, then who's really ugly?
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm.
How
Food
about
for
that?
thought.
Yep. Y'all got anything, another news thing? Because we can go to this other story. No?
We can go to your story. No, go ahead. Yeah.
So this is very interesting. You know how, and I would love for you to weigh in on this, Kamal, because you know Cop City and all that kind of stuff. Well, somebody is getting awarded a lawsuit for being killed by the cops, but it ain't one of us. Ashley Babbitt's family. Remember Ashley Babbitt from January 6th?
Mm-hmm.
Her family is going to receive $5 million in a settlement with the Trump administration over her getting shot by Capitol Police for storming the Capitol. The Trump administration is set to pay out nearly $5 million to settle a lawsuit brought by the family of Ashley Babbitt, a rioter fatally shot during the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Sources familiar with the matter confirmed to ABC News on Monday. The settlement will resolve a $30 million suit brought by Babbitt's estate and the conservative group Judicial Watch, alleging the Capitol police officer who shot her as she attempted to breach a broken window of the House Speaker's lobby was negligent in his duties. The Washington Post first reported news on the settlement amount. The Justice Department in April 2021 announced that it had cleared U.S. Capitol Police Lieutenant Michael Byrd of any criminal wrongdoing in the shooting after an investigation revealed no evidence that he did not reasonably believe that it was necessary to do so in self-defense or in defense of the members of Congress and others evacuating the House chamber. That's what the lawsuit against him alleged. A separate investigation by the U.S. Capitol Police further found Byrd's actions were lawful and within department policy, and that he would not face internal discipline. I'm just reading the article. I am not offering an opinion on whether any of that is justified. I don't give a shit about this pig's job. Whether he did it, I don't give a shit. That's not even an argument, so don't, okay? So, the article goes on to say the actions of the officer in this case potentially saved members of the House and staff from serious injury and possible death from a large crowd of rioters who forced their way into the U.S. Capitol and to the House chamber, where members and staff were steps away. And we know that's true because remember the gallows that they erected on the White House? Yeah. If the, let's see, USCP, U.S. Capitol Police officers had barricaded the Speaker's lobby with furniture before rioters shattered the glass door, if the doors were breached, the rioters would have immediate access to the House chambers. The officers' actions were consistent with the officers' training and USCP policies and procedures. There's Ashley Babbitt. The article says it's not immediately clear whether the settlement would require the Justice Department to amend its public stance on Babbitt's shooting or admit fault on the part of Lieutenant Byrd and the Capitol Police. A DOJ spokesperson and attorneys for Babbitt's estate did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger said in a statement to ABC News that he is extremely disappointed and to disagree with this settlement. In 2021, the DOJ investigation determined no wrongdoing by police. This settlement sends a chilling message to law enforcement nationwide, especially to those with a protective mission like ours. So Trump has repeatedly cited Babbitt's death as part of his broader vocal support for rioters who stormed the Capitol, seeking to overturn his 2020 election loss. Trump pardoned nearly all of the approximately 1,500 individuals charged in connection with the January 6th attacks on one of his first acts in office, in a proclamation that described the Justice Department's investigation into the riot as a grave national injustice. He said, I'm a big fan of Ashley Babbitt, okay? And Ashley Babbitt was a really good person who was a big MAGA fan, Trump fan, and she was innocently standing there. They even say trying to sort of hold back the crowd, Trump said. And a man did something unthinkable to her when he shot her. And I think it's a disgrace. I'm going to look into that. I did not know that. So aside from the cop shit and the white riot shit, this is also another example, I think, of how facts get erased and lies get weaponized politically in this country by these people. Like, why would the settlement, as ridiculous as the settlement is, why would the settlement include forcing the U.S. Capitol Police to change their public findings in their investigation, like forcing them to lie about what happened? Why? Why? Only in America. But again, if you, well, maybe not only in America, in settler colonial societies where the white people, they literally write the history. But again, this is like this man, no, he's not book smart, he's not intelligent, but he's crafty. He is crafty. And it's hard not to see that he is taking advantage of every opportunity he can to further the coalescing of white fascist power by, look at what he's doing. He's bringing the Boer fascists over here and sending them to Idaho. And Idaho is where all these white supremacist compounds are, right? So they're going to be very comfortable in Idaho, even though they're going to be kind of surprised at the kind of power they don't really have. That we're, and he's pardoned all of the white rioters from January. One of the first things he did, he's going to pay this settlement to the white lady's family who broke into the Capitol and tried to break into the House chambers and drag somebody out so they could hang them on the. This is what, if this isn't lost cause ideology 2.0, I don't know what else to call it, because this is exactly how the Civil War was turned into, this battle of poor embattled southern states fighting against government excess and overreach and northern aggression. The southern slaveholders were the victims of federal bullying. Trump is doing the exact same thing. So Kamau, please, what the hell?
No, I mean, I don't. There's no legal analysis. This is being done because, like exactly what you said, the white nationalist leader wants to support his white nationalist followers and helping them to say, the next time you do this, I got your back again, or the next time we need to do this, in their estimation, that the same thing will follow. And so the fact that, like you said, early on in his administration, within the first 100 days, one of his first probably within the first 5 days, if I remember correctly, one of his first acts was basically to release all of these folks from jail or prison, was a dog whistle that his community, his people, his followers, his ideological compatriots wanted to have, which was to say, look, we are on the side. You know what I mean? Like, so Trump, I agree, like Trump is not smart, but he is on an ideological side. And that ideological side is that they are the tip of the spear, as we say, right? Of white hegemonic dominance. And that we're leading that battle, right? And fuck everybody else. We don't care what anybody else thinks. We don't care about any truth or any equal-handedness or how people view us or what quote unquote the mainstream media reports. I mean, Trump literally in that meeting with the South African president called on an NBC reporter and basically cut him off and started calling him an idiot, fake news, that they're not covering this real genocide in South Africa, and if this had happened any place else to non-whites. And he's using that language, like he's using codified racial language to say to his people, like, we as white folks have these grievances and I'm here to stand up for you. And the Democrats are basically saying, let's figure out how we do this too, right? And that's all, and that's what they do. If they defeat Trump, it's not that they're defeating Trump because they're going to establish some racially just system. They're going to be like, oh, Trump is excessive, but basically we understand the grievances that people have been talking about. So we're not going to roll back Trump's program. We're not going to go any further, maybe for the most part, but we're not going to roll it back. So again, these people are involved in an ideological plan and idea around, for them, how they keep what they see as their country that they rightfully stole. And again, whether or not they are the majority people, and right now they're fighting to make sure that they are the majority population, they plan to rule. They plan to govern. They plan to use those resources. They plan to use military might. They plan to use police might, all to control and to keep themselves in power. And so that, so this is way more about power and showing what side of the team you're on than it has to do with any legal justification for it, because there is none. Like the fact that they're settling the suit, they're not challenging it or taking it to trial or having them take it to trial, where they would win, obviously, right? Like someone is threatening the life of a so-called police and members of Congress, they would win this lawsuit. But they decided to settle it because it's a dog whistle approach to show their followers that we have your back, even in the worst. It's like, even in the worst circumstances, here's a little blood money for your cause.
Mm-hmm. So her family alleged negligence on behalf of the U.S. Capitol Police. And what they said was the officer was negligent and responsible for her murder because he failed to give a warning before shooting her. right? As if she was not a marauding thug in a rabble of other marauding thugs that were actively threatening government officials. But I find it really interesting the way that the US Capitol Police have sort of been left out on their own as an entity. Even though they did receive a tremendous increase in funding after the January 6th riots, it seems as though MAGA country and the rest of the cops in the world don't give a fuck about what the US Capitol Police experienced on that day. I mean, like 5 or 6 of them went home and unalived themselves, right? The one who has been the most visible face, Michael Fanone, he gets death threats all the time. They even threaten to kill his mama. Like it's wild to see the glaring kind of contradictions as Trump's claims to be law and order, MAGA claims to be law and order, but this particular police force, they were happy to sacrifice them and to leave them out there as scapegoats. Even contrasted with Metropolitan Police, actual DC police didn't get fucked up the way that US Capitol Police got fucked up on January 6th, which is again was an awesome day. I think January 6th should be celebrated in black spaces, to be honest, because it was just the perfect picture of white on white violence. Everybody should have lost. And it was just a beautiful, I even love looking at the footage of January 6th. That shit just brings a smile to my face to see all them police crying and getting punched in the face and eating bear mace. I said, look at this. I love this. I love this so much. But it's just funny that US Capitol Police is like, fuck y'all, per the MAGAs. And Trump got the cop vote. Cops supported what he did. And even in spite of knowing that he was pardoning these people that came and beat up other cops, they don't care. I guess the US Capitol Police were the sacrificial lambs for the rest of the MAGA movement. It should serve as an example. They were supposed to join the rabble as
exactly.
Exactly.
They did the wrong thing.
That's right.
That's right. They did the wrong thing. They should have let the doors come open. Yeah.
Exactly. And remember, if you go back and watch some of that video of the scenes of the rioters fighting with the cops trying to get it, you hear some of them saying, "You are a traitor. You're supposed to be on our side." This is the white folks trying to break into the Capitol, telling the pigs who were trying to keep them from breaking into the Capitol, "Why are y'all stopping us from breaking into the Capitol? You should be breaking into the Capitol too."
Right.
There were other pigs, who took time off of work to come and be a part of the rioters. So they were like, "What? This is it. We won't really and is that again in their estimation." The liberals, were holding them back and not doing enough for them. So this was their big day to take it all over in one fell swoop or whatever. Like you should be telling us where Pelosi is so that we can get her.
Right.
And we can get the other Congress folks or whatever like that. Where's Pence at? Where are they all at? We ready to get them. How dare you?
And very quietly, though, like I remember in the immediate days after January 6th, there was so much video going around. I even played a clip of a white male US Capitol Police officer opening the gate and allowing a bunch of them to come through. And there was some brief follow-up in the media about there were some officers that were disciplined for their either their roles or participation, but they were never named. What they were disciplined for specifically was never revealed. And it's like they did have some insiders trying to help out the rioters.
Not a lot, not enough.
Not enough, right?
Not enough. And to be clear, I always say this because I always got to say it. I feel like I got to say it. I don't think we can talk about anything that Trump is doing if we think this man is a fascist. And the Democrats have said he's a fascist. Then I don't understand why they didn't do anything with all of the criminality that this man displayed in his first administration. How come all of those hearings amounted to nothing? How come? And even if they could not prove that he legally, and look, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't even make an argument about whether they could have made that case or not. I'm just saying, they did all of these hearings, days and days of live streamed hearings about that insurrection. They're going to impeach him, on and on. And all of it came to absolutely nothing. Not because they did not have anything on him that they could have used against him in court, because there was always the emoluments clause. Always. He was never supposed, that's against the law. He was not supposed to own property that he was making money off of as president using his name. But did they go after him for that? No. Do you know why Democrats didn't go after him for that? Because they all are in violation of some kind of financial shit that if they had been able to indict Trump on, they were going to be next. So the reason this Trump administration exists is because the Democrats didn't do anything to punish him from the first time around. They made a big show of pretending like they were fighting Trump with all of these damn hearings. And there were a couple of things that came out for a couple of people, like those black women election workers in Georgia. Remember them? That what's his face? Giuliani and Trump publicly and falsely and repeatedly for damn near 2 years claimed that those particular women, call these women's names out on Fox News and conservative outlets all over the place. These women got death threats. They had to move. It was a mother and a daughter who were election workers in Georgia for decades. And white people, they showed up at their grandmama's house threatening that woman with death. So those women finally won a lawsuit against Giuliani, and I think they won several lawsuits against Giuliani. And now they're of course fighting for their compensation. So yes, some people have been held accountable. I think there's another Republican Georgia election worker who was just sentenced to prison for her role in allegedly trying to tamper with the election in Georgia in another, with the election, with the actual voting machines, I think.
Who was that ugly cracker
Some things
with Trump? Who got sent to jail? Bannon? Didn't Bannon go to jail?
Yeah,
Bannon. Yeah, because in the first administration, Flynn what was he? Did he go to jail? I can't remember.
I don't know if Flynn. I know Bannon went, and I think it was like either he defied a subpoena from Congress or something like that.
Right. Yeah, he did. He never testified. So Democrats made a show of going after Trump, of punishing him for his role in January 6th. And it was a show, because here he is again, president. And these very same people who did not really do anything to punish him for all the things he did in the first administration, now they're talking about, oh, he's a fascist. Well, he's a fascist. You didn't fight.
It just goes to show, I don't know what impeachment means anymore in America, right? Because we've had, what, in my lifetime, 3 impeached presidents. Clinton, who was the other one? Someone else got an impeachment. Didn't they try to run an impeachment on Obama? I don't remember, but I think Trump was convicted twice for impeachment in the Senate. And again, it did what exactly? Did it bar him from holding office again? And it just goes to show you how determined white supremacists are to make sure that who they want to be, irrespective of whether or not they break the law, whether or not they adhere to the rules are for us. The rules are not for the whites, right? Like they have to, we are the ones that have to remain. I'm thinking about the lady, who is this New Jersey Congresswoman, this black woman, LaMonica McKelvey, is that her name?
Yeah.
She's facing real charges for assaulting police officer in connection with that ICE detention center incident with Ras Baraka. I think he had charges dropped against him, but they're moving full force against her, pressing like very serious charges against her. But Trump can signal and call for a riot, and he gets reelected.
Yeah,
that's why quickly for me, this is never about when people say, oh, only if the Democrats had done this or done that or done this, they could have won. And I'm like, what they're missing is that we live in a white supremacist country, and that there's a white constituency, a majority white constituency that supports all of this. right? This is not some small fraction of a population or some takeover of the Republican Party in the sense of there's a huge base of people who support this. They're basically involved in a movement. They're involved in a political and ideological movement. Doesn't mean they don't have internal fighting. Doesn't mean they don't have differences. They don't have strategic, tactical, and even some ideological differences. But in general, they're a large movement of people who believe that they should run the country the way they want to and that they should have power. And again, that they're not scared of ruling from a minority position in terms of population. They're not scared of violating any norms. They're not scared of violating things that are obviously, like you said, like they don't worry about lying. They don't care about what the media says in terms of the corporate media. None of it matters. There's enemies and they're friends, and they're clear on it. And it is, I feel like it is us on the left who, again, rely too much on liberals to think that the liberals are to come solve the problem. And or we argue amongst ourselves too much as opposed to having a real plan of action to protect ourselves. Not that we're going to take over the country because we don't have the numbers, but how are we going to protect ourselves during this time period? How are we going to defend ourselves, feed ourselves, so forth and so on? Because there is a movement that is organized at this stage like it hasn't been in maybe 50, 60, 70 years. That I do think is fascist in nature and white supremacist in nature and remodeling the economic system in nature. And it is strong enough to take over and has the apparatuses of power in this country. And we have to deal with that, right? We can't just say, not us on this channel, but folks can't just get away with, oh, if the Democrats had only stood up for this or stood up for that, they would have won. It's like, I don't care what the Democrats would have done. The chances are they would have lost because white folks wanted a Trump figure, and they have the numerical numbers to put a Trump figure and all of the other Congress and Congress people and senators that they've put in to so-called represent their interests. And even when that's not enough, these crackers will take it to the streets in mass numbers. So they're not, when they by any means necessary for them means by any means necessary again. Like they're not, the political system is one tool, it's one way of leveling power. But if we can't get it through the so-called democratic mechanisms and means, whatever that really does mean, then we're just going to go over there and take it. And if it didn't work, okay, well, we got pardoned. So that means we're going to try again next time. You know what I mean? So they're involved in a war that's about reshaping or making sure they're in firmer control of something, and that they don't. And again, in this war between the Democrats and the Republicans, or the right wing and the neoliberals, the right wing doesn't trust the neoliberals to govern and rule, and so that's why they're their natural enemies in a sense, and why they beat them down. Because they think right now that the neoliberals have given too much of their country to the blacks, to the women, to the gays, to the United Nations, to the international agencies. Then even a lot of them think that capitalism is going too far in terms of not supporting the white working class. Again, they have differences in that on some of those aspects, but they clearly have a singular or common voice in terms of their grievances, which is around reestablishing white rule in a white country. And then they look at South Africa, we've talked about this briefly before, as a tale of what could happen here in America if they don't take back over. So in other words, the whole thing, and again, the whole thing post-Reconstruction of the idea of like black folks supposedly ruling and taking over and raping white women and all that kind of stuff. These are modern day manifestations of that history, which they have always, always, always believed in terms of them being the bosses and the rest of us being slaves.
Yeah, and this is why I always advocate for our people in particular, but everybody who is interested in if real democracy is your thing, and you want to understand why we have a political system that is, two wings of the same evil bird. I didn't say that. I didn't make that phrase up. W.E.B. Du Bois said that. I always encourage people to read his book, Black Reconstruction, because if you read that book, you will understand how far these people will go to do exactly what Kamau said, because they've done it before with Reconstruction. Reconstruction governments no longer exist, and all of those progressive policies that came from those Reconstruction governments after the Civil War, they don't exist now. We're fighting for the things that they put in those Reconstruction constitutions today because these people's ancestors killed those people in order to destroy those governments with those progressive constitutions that provided for suffrage for women, equality for working class and poor, equality for formerly enslaved people, and even assistance for poor white farmers. The white people destroyed all of that because it was formerly enslaved Black people and progressive white people who made up those Reconstruction governments to move this country in a direction away from its former slave history to a more perfect union, quote unquote. These people's ancestors destroyed that. You have to understand that to understand why W.E.B. Du Bois says that the two political parties in this country are two wings of the same evil bird. And just to be clear on impeachment, I think it was Nixon who was going to be impeached, but he resigned first before they could impeach him because he knew it was coming. Clinton was impeached, but he was not removed because the Senate did not vote to remove him. And the same thing happened with Trump. The House voted to impeach him, but the Senate did not vote to impeach him. So I think that's the history of impeachment. I think there was one president back in the 18 somethings that was removed from office. I can't remember which one it was, but other presidents, the other two times other than Nixon, that a president was voted to be impeached, the Senate did not vote to remove them from office.
Or to convict them.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to remember. Convict.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Impeachment is like being indicted in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Senate has to move to basically convict, as you said, for removal. And like you said, so Nixon basically resigned from office to stop the embarrassment of a possible impeachment / being forced out of the office once his not his policy on murdering Vietnamese, Laos, and Cambodians, but because he broke into the Democratic National Office and the spying on, again, another powerful party which has enough tools to defend itself. Those were the things that led him to resign, so that he would not get impeached and convicted, or formally thrown out as the president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that if under the right circumstances, if he had ran again, he probably could have won, because that's how it goes.
It is. And to be clear for again, if you understand that all of our people are, these hands-off protests. Oh, hands off my Medicare, hands off Social Security. Where was y'all protesting, hands off SNAP? Where was y'all protesting hands off SNAP when Biden cut them SNAP benefits? Where y'all didn't want Biden to keep his hands off SNAP? Y'all didn't want, y'all weren't upset when Obama put cutting Social Security on the table in budget negotiations, and the Republicans weren't even talking about cutting Social Security at the time. Obama was just like, look, if I let you cut Social Security, will you pass this budget? Y'all didn't care about that. But now, because Trump is doing all these things that the Democrats have been doing, now it's like, oh, see, once this happens, then y'all gonna be talking a different story. No. I've been saying the same thing about all these people for a long time.
Well, let's bring up the ear doctor. He's waiting in the wings to come on up and give us one more break.
All right.
Ooh, look at that sweatshirt.
Oh, you see that sweat, that hoodie right there? Oh,
that?
my
Where
man.
can we get that, ear doctor?
Hey, we need a close up. I got you.
Yes.
Say less. Boom.
Damn.
That'd be
Oh, the merch.
damn Liberation Media hoodie right there. It's nice and comfy and everything. You know what I'm saying?
It's cotton. It's
Liberatedly
cotton.
Yeah, it's
sexy.
cotton of the finest cottons of the finest sheep. You know what I'm
Egyptian,
saying?
Turkish. What we
It
got?
gotta be. It gotta be. It feels like I'm floating in the cloud right now. So you might want to
Very
go
nice.
Ooh.
Luxuriating against your skin.
All
Love
right, so
that.
let's take a quick commercial break and then we'll come back with some more right here
Commercial?
on. Yes, I'm about to do a commercial right here on the Remix Morning Show. Once again, go to blkliberationmedia.org and get your merch. We got the Remix Morning Show merch. We got the Black Liberation Media merch. We got I Mix What I Like, Saturdays with Renee. Go and check it out. Support so we can keep this thing going. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com, become a member over there, get footage that's rare. And like I said, donate at blkliberationmedia.org so we can keep this thing going. All right, with that said, let's get back to our crew. You know how we do right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go.
Remix. I think I need to bring a little bit of every type of liquor over here to this table, every bottle.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be a Kamau shirt. Like I trust Kamau or.
Well, you know, we got the community movement builder shirts that you got on right now. So, you know.
Are those up on the Black Liberation Media site?
No, they're on your chest. So stand up and promote it.
You know, they shouldn't be like a I love Kamau shirt. I trust Kamau.
Kamau, like I love New York kind of shirt. Like, what are you talking about?
What would Kamau do? Kind of thing. Nothing like that. No. Just think about it. Yeah, just think about it. You don't have to make any rash decisions now, but you know.
Yeah. And I hope, these are, like I said, this is some nice material right here, and it pops out. It pops. You know what I'm saying?
It does pop.
Right.
I like it. I like the logo. I like the shirt. I feel the one you got on is a little tight, but that's another, you know.
Well, you know, that's sometimes, you know, you want to rock it out and get your flyness on. You don't want to have it too baggy sometimes. You want to show your fit. You know what I mean? So you walk up in there like, bam, you know, show your little chest and stuff like that.
Little pecs.
Little pecs. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to have to get a large so I can, you know.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
I mean, so we're never doing a calendar. Is that what I'm hearing? Like we were promised a mail of the men of Black Liberation Media calendar, 12 months worth of in various states of undress. Like, I mean, where?
I mean, Who wants to see Dr. Sudiata?
We should do. I agree. Me, it should be like
Why
me.
Nobody does. What you think?
Me-
Nobody wants to see that.
Big up to Dr. Sudiata.
Why? What did Dr. Sudiata ever do to you to deserve that?
Me,
You don't want to see
Jared,
the gun
and any
show Dr.
doctor
Sudiata
coming
got
out like a
under
shower
the
with
shirt?
like towels on, kind of.
Tasteful, yeah.
All right,
But
let me
you
just
know,
remove him.
I mean, I pay for that. I would buy that calendar.
Mm.
All right, we'll work on
2026.
it.
We need what photographers, what artistic photographers do we have amongst us in the remix crew that are
True.
amongst our remixers? Make it
Mhm.
tasteful, artsy,
Artsy?
suggestive even. Not
Okay.
vulgar, but
Not vulgar,
mm,
but
classy.
some ass shots. You want some ass shots?
No.
Yeah,
no,
why
no.
not? Well, it depends on the ass.
I'm talking about I'm not volunteering nobody else's ass. I'm saying you want me to do some ass shots for you or whatever. Just trying to ask. You know what I'm saying?
I've been told it is jingling, baby. So. Just saying.
It can be tasteful. I can do tasteful shots.
I don't let these squats go to work.
That's
Oh,
right.
no,
Yeah,
no.
Doc, that's what I'm talking about.
These
Talk
squats
that
is
shit.
doing it, you know.
I was
All
going to
right,
say
enough.
do a calendar with animals, like some of the fire departments do the
Yeah.
calendars with the sexy firemen with the animals, but I like animals too much.
I can ride a horse bareback.
Nope, stay off the horses.
Hey,
Leave them.
that sounds interesting.
I don't think the horses consent to that happening ever in any situation. The horses don't want anybody's
Right.
bare ass on their back.
And it can be behind the shot, like my ass, the horse's ass.
No,
it's not. My bad. Just asking.
Not needing bareback
that.
mountain part 2.
Oh my God, that's not even the name of the book.
I'm just Kim. I'm just trying to get some deep, what would you like to see? That's all. I'm just trying to throw out suggestions.
I haven't heard a suggestion that I'm opposed to. You know what I mean? Like I entertain all of this. I welcome all of this. So Atlanta in particular, since you got the ear doctor and Kamal right there in your town, let's see if we can set up some photo shoots, with the good lighting. You know what I'm saying? The baby oils, Diddy says that the skin looks.
I'm out of here.
It'd be glisten, the glisten of the baby oil makes it look good on video and on pictures. Get you
I suppose you got a lot of hair. I got a lot of hair. Does that get all?
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Hair is a sign of manliness.
See, exactly. That's exactly how I'm looking at Kamal right now, rubbing his chest over somebody got a lot of hair.
There's a lot over. There's a lot happening.
There's a lot over here in this spot, right?
There's a lot happening. It's kind of there's a lot. It's like a patch here, a little,
Don't wax. Go au natural. No. That's what we like. We like to see au natural.
Waxing seems like I feel like waxing looks like it hurts. So I saw that bad movie.
Yeah.
What was that bad movie? A couple
40-year-old virgin.
Yeah, when he did that thing, I was like, "Oh God!" I was like,
it's
"That
not,
would be."
I don't. No. I've never understood why women do because the bikini. No, leave that alone.
Yeah, the Brazilian wax stuff. When I was like, "Can't y'all just take a I don't think there's no time left for news, man.
What? Come on. We just had a whole
an electric razor. Stop at the electric razor. Yeah, I like all of that stuff. I mean, how clean does it have to? I mean, my God, that feels like that's a lot.
Serious. I did get my legs waxed one time, and I never did it again. I'm like, okay, all right. I've experienced it. That's all I need. Thank you.
I saw a theory about waxing that I thought was kind of interesting, that the whole concept of waxing to be sexually appealing for men and women is sort of like a weird thing because adults have hair on their body. You know who doesn't have hair on their body and in their neither regions? Kids, right? Mm-hmm. So some people think that, the whole idea of this aesthetic of waxing and being hairless is sort of like an affinity to sexualizing like a child's body in a way. You guys get what I'm saying? Like maybe not. Maybe I'm not.
No. I've heard that before, and I think most people probably don't think about it that much. I think, but I do think that we are conditioned women in particular, but men in different ways. I think women are conditioned to look at body hair as unattractive, right? To men. But men are conditioned to believe that women like their body hair. And you know that hairiness is like a sign of manliness, which
So what's the go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, so what's the difference between the hair under the arm and the hair down there? They say that, it keeps the funk, the hair. So that's why they shave it. So I would assume under the arm you cut that. What put me on. It's Kim
Yeah,
is
but
shaking
you're
her head.
accurate though. That's not inaccurate. Hair does hold funk. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's not I don't think it's a bad thing to get rid of your hair, but that is, and I can't even say Western culture per se, but because in France they don't shave, right? Women like they're kind of known.
Hair is supposed to be a natural protection layer
and it
against
traps
things getting on your skin, like particularly your vulnerable areas.
It traps the smell of pheromones. So that's a part of what the hair down there does. And yeah, I mean, everything on your body is for a reason. So I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't mind it at all. I mean, when we go to the beach, you can shave the parts by your legs a little bit for the in the bikinis.
He's like, if I was offering a recommendation, however,
when it's time to go to the pool, you can do a little shaving down there, a little manicuring, And I think with watching pornos, a lot of pornos they shave everything. So people are like, okay, well, let me do how they do in the pornos. Not saying I watch pornos,
but now dudes shave too, right? Dudes shave all that.
Yeah,
that's supposed to be
manicuring.
They do. Manscaping, I think they call it.
Yeah.
But we also we have to acknowledge that specific challenges for Black people and people with kinky curly hair. Like we are more prone to ingrown hairs, to it's not as these hair removal techniques don't always go as smoothly, pardon the pun, for us as they might do for folks with other different kinds of hair textures, right? Like
yeah. And people wonder how we got
ingrown
here.
hair on your hoo-ha. Woo, buddy.
That is like, how did we get here?
well,
if you in the chat, like they were doing news.
If you read the description under Remix Morning Show, is news, politics, and culture. This is culture, y'all. This is what we're practicing either European or African culture, and we're breaking it down. Like, is this our culture? Is it not? Or it's culture. So we break it all down here on the Remix Morning Show.
I don't know if I would elevate this conversation to the level of culture.
Is it not? It's a culture, a European, or is it an African culture? The waxing and stuff like that.
Definitely not an African. I don't think.
I don't think it's
to
an
my
African
knowledge.
thing.
Yeah.
It's not.
Someone said low culture. It's like, yes, it's. I think that's true.
I don't think this is culture. I think this is one of those weird preference-y things, and that's fine. Wherever we get these ideas from. But it's interesting how people. When you start talking about this thing, it's interesting how when you start talking about something like this and you might think it's not a big deal, and then you realize through these conversations that people really do make a big deal out of body hair. Like I don't think I have never, and I always kind of just talk about myself because I don't like talking about experiences and people and things that I don't have an experience with, but I've never been attracted to men who do not have body hair. I
don't trust guys that don't have no facial hair.
I never have. I've always liked a man with a hairy chest. I've always liked a little hair on the back.
Don't do it. Don't
stop trying to pull them little arms up because that ain't. Put that back up there. So,
we don't want to see your Teen Wolf right now.
You do not. We don't want to see the sick. We don't want to see the 3 hairs peeking out from underneath there.
3? Shit. Look like a forest fire, smoky forest fire over there.
I will say though that one this, because I always have a really good story. So me and Abdus had been married for maybe 2 years, and we were doing married things.
I like. Do tell.
Dude shaved. And I was like, who told you to do that?
He's watching them porns.
Who told you? Why would
Isn't
you?
this what women like these days?
No.
Yes.
No. No. I did not want teen peen. That's not what I wanted.
Jackie, it looks bigger when you shave all that.
Whoa.
No, it doesn't. It's not the same thing. No.
Yeah, tell me.
Interesting.
See, think about it. Come out.
Because the hair is okay.
No.
Yeah.
Come out.
Leave it
You would be
alone.
Bawling
Leave it
on the
alone.
floor.
It
You
has a
would not
purpose.
survive a waxing in your neither region. You wouldn't make it.
Y'all would, if y'all think
Oh, hell
period
no.
cramps are bad, try that.
Mm-mm.
Try it.
I take the clippers down there. There ain't no way.
Oh,
I'm
goddamn.
Oh yeah, you gotta do clippers.
You got to do clippers?
Yeah, clippers.
No.
I'm telling you. All right. Don't listen to me.
No. No.
All right. So where we at?
Alone. Leave it alone.
Because this goes back to the love of our, when we talking about Vibes Cartel, we talk about the love and what beauty standards are. So this goes back to that whole conversation too. So this is a part of culture,
And like made up consumerism around or ideas around what is attractive and what's not, and who these ideas don't come out of nowhere. I mean, I kind of agree with Kim's idea. It may not necessarily be people are thinking, I want to look like a child, but it's certainly an act of wanting to look young by a lot of the shaving in those areas or whatever like that. It's certainly this is a younger look or a certain kind of look. And I do think that's and there are people who do necessarily profit from the idea of, oh, you want to look this way, and then I can make you look this way by doing this. And if you don't look this way, then you're not cool, you're not attractive, you're not this, you're not that. And then it gets into everybody's mind. And it's like, obviously some things are adventurism, and that's cool. But then when it gets commercialized, it's kind of like, okay.
Like that's a cultural standard that has changed and evolved, right? Because the adult entertainment materials of, let's say, the 70s, right? Like naked magazines and, pornography, like the women would have
hairy muffs.
Hair, you know what I mean? Yeah. But no mas, that's over.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's true. I think there was a trend. Don't ask me. I know.
Oh,
I know somebody in the chat was like, "Oh my God, we learning too much about you." We just people. We are just people, just like y'all. I think that's what I love about us. Like we are organizers, we're journalists, we're serious about the work that we do, but we're also just people, y'all. We're just people, just like y'all. You can do this too.
That's right.
Get organized and still be goofy as fuck. And be cool in how you are.
Today's remix episode brought to you by Blue Chew.
It's Blue Chew?
Oh my God. It's one of them get hard pills like Viagra.
Oh, that's what Shannon Sharp be pushing, right?
Yeah, those different types of pills.
Is that what? Oh my God.
I'm so glad I don't need it. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, what we got coming up, because we got a minute left. Let's start with Jackie. What you got coming up?
This is what's coming up. African Liberation Day at the DMV tomorrow. Symposium at Payne Memorial Avenue AME Church, 1714 Madison Avenue in Baltimore, Maryland, from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. I will try to be there. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get from here to BWI for my 6:30 a.m. flight Saturday morning. But there is that. And if you could drop the Erica, the link for the webinar tonight, that is that BAP Mid-Atlantic is putting on for migration and other issues in the DMV. Oh, sorry, here it is. I got it right here, real quick. So sorry. Ta-da! There you go. From global occupation from the DMV to Africa tonight, 7 to 8:30. Register at bit.ly/. /DMV2Africa. I will drop this in the chat for you so that you can register. That is tonight. Also, that's it. That's what's coming up.
All right. Karen, what you got going on?
Friday, come join me, hang out at Burn It Down with Kim Brown. I think YouTube is playing some very uncute games with my channel. So all the more reason for you all to show up, show out. But it's weird. I do the vertical stream on my channel, and then that invites weirdos by the by the dozens. So I want to shout out all my wonderful mods over there at Burn It Down with Kim Brown. But come on, y'all BLM folks need to come over here and hang out with your homie. Appreciate it. 7 p.m. on Friday.
All right. Cam and them got the pink horsepower, but here at Black Liberation Media, we have the CMB CMOS. So you want to stay in the game and you want to be in the action, go get that CMB CMOS.
You know what I'm saying? You don't need no blue pill. You need CMOS. Right.
All natural. All natural.
Works on both sexes, all them, different sexes, all that. Whatever you need. Whatever you need. It works in another region. It works in another region.
It works.
Oh, I thought we were out of the nether regions. I'm sorry.
Oh, my bad. I just want to return one more time to the nether region. It works.
I wonder how you spell nether. Anyway, let's go ahead and get up out of here. We'll be back here tomorrow at 8 a.m. Y'all don't know how to spell nether. Stop playing. We'll be back here tomorrow at 8 a.m. So make sure y'all tune in. I'm not even gonna give y'all a chance to say y'all do because y'all are lying. Y'all looking at Google right now to figure out how to spell nether.
Sound it out. Phonics, my name. Phonics.
Go ahead, spell it.
NETHER.
She's looking it up as we do.
Is she right? Is she right?
Yeah, she's right. She's right. Yeah.
Okay, look at Kim.
Nether or neither. It depends on what are we saying, but.
See that crazy English is neither or nether, and they spelled the same.
That's why neither is not spelled the same as nether.
See, it's too much. It's too
One
much.
has an I, the other
is too much.
You got a there, you got a there, you got a two, you got a two. It's too much.
No,
too much.
And no.
All right, let's say goodbye.
Yeah, let's say goodbye because I'm done with this language. All right, we're out of here. The Remix Morning Show, y'all. Neither or nor, or either or. We out of here, y'all. Remix Morning Show. We got to go. Peace.